Hey guys, wanted to take a minute to talk to you a little bit about the M1 Garand. This is an American rifle from World War II kind of era. This is a U.S. International Harvester. There was a couple of different makes of these. I wanted to talk about it specifically about hunting. So if you're looking for like a really good historical overview on this rifle or usage, don't watch my video. There's guys out there that'll do a better job. I'm purely going to talk about this thing in terms of hunting, and I'm going to be really unfair. I'm going to compare it against all the standard bolt action rifles out there and all that other good stuff. So don't complain in the comments if you don't like how I approach this, because I'm purely approaching it from hunting. This one's already in a synthetic stock. I believe this is a ram line stock, which is kind of nice because then you won't worry too much about, you know, beating it up and bruising it in the woods. It's got a sensible rubber butt pad on the back, so you're not. This is a just flat out already a better stock than the walnut one that it comes with. But it doesn't look as nice, not nearly as nice. I mean, I think a nice walnut stock would be a lot better looking on this rifle. Moving on to just a little bit about usage on it. It uses a clip system, so you can actually say clips instead of magazines like you're supposed to say with most rifles, which is kind of cool, and at the same time not all that great for hunting, but we'll get to that in a minute. We've got a rear peep sight system, so there's a peep sight back here, a blade front that's protected with wings. Let me just pull that up. There's the front sight. Just to really get in on it. There we go. You can see it's got a little blade in there, and it's protected by these wings here, so you can, you know, take some battle damage and not worry too much about it. We've got these Sling Swivels up front, and then because this is an aftermarket stock, it just has a sling stud at the back. You can adjust these rear aperture sights very easily using these dials for windage and for elevation. So that's kind of nice. You can get a scope mount for it, but I don't know if I'd really bother, because this uses a clip system that has to come in right through the top. This thing actually sits, I wonder if I can show you, kind of like that. So it's off center, it's off that main center line of the rifle. It's kind of sitting off to the side, so you have to deal with not only, you know, the little bit of up and down that you have with a traditional hunting rifle, but also you're on the side. So at some point that bullet is going to start veering away from the rifle. You can only really sight it in and have it like pinpoint accurate for one distance kind of a thing. So you know, that kind of sucks. Going on to the actual usage of it, this one's got a safety on the bottom. You can see it right here. Let me just zoom in a little bit. There we go. It's got a safety. If you've played with an M1A, you've seen these before, and it's safe like that, and it takes quite a bit of force on a lot of these, and this one included. And then there's safety off and ready to fire there. So the idea being, you know, you've got it on safe, and then you're kind of getting close, and you pull the trigger really quickly kind of thing. I don't like these safeties. They're in line with the trigger. You can't reach it, you know, just by really quickly moving for it, because you might be actually pulling the trigger. So I would recommend that you visually confirm that you are on the safety, or at least confirm that you're on the trigger group, and then as trigger guard, and then pull it back. And it's really stiff and clicky. So, you know, for any rifle where people are saying, yeah, you know, maybe it's not the best for long distance, but it'd be great for close in. If it's got a clicky safety, it's already got a strike in my book. So I don't really like the clicky safety on this thing. In terms of the cartridge, these are just dummies here, but it uses a 30-06, plenty of power. Great cartridge for a hunting rifle. Kind of sucks in an M1 Garand because you can't use commercially loaded ammo. A lot of the commercially loaded ammo on this rifle, there's an operating rod that's kind of moving in here, and it's taking the gas from the front here and it's popping it back, and it's hitting this metal rod. And the thing about that metal rod is that if it gets struck with too much power, it's actually right here, and it's putting all its pressure high up, so it's getting pressure down, and it's got to convert it high up. It'll actually bow out if it gets too much power sent through it. So a lot of guys will reload for these M1 Garands because the operating rod, if bent, kind of loses its value, and you got to buy a new one, and they're quite costly because this is something that happens with these rifles. So kind of strike two is you can't use commercially loaded ammo. You do have to reload for it. Let's go on to the action, and this is the primary beef that I've got with it from a hunting rifle perspective only. So right now I've got it closed. Let me just here. Maybe I'll point this at me for a little bit here. There we go. So I've got it open. Beef 1, if you don't actually have it locked all the way back, it is possible to have it locked, you see, right there. Let me zoom in a little bit, keep my fingers free of this thing. You see the bolt right there? It's actually caught right here on this bullet guide, and it has to be all the way back. There we go, there it is, all the way back. Otherwise, as soon as you put that clip in, it's going to mash your fingers. And it's going to do that pretty much anyways, but let's just show you how you load this thing correctly without having it mash your fingers. There's two ways of doing it. One way, you're holding on the op rod as you pop in your magazine with your other hand. And the other way, this is a slightly slicker way, is to use your pinky to hold that op rod back while you pop this in from the top. And if it looks kind of fiddly, it's because it is. There we go. And slide it forward. So this is a little bit more awkward because I'm kind of holding it away from me and I don't have it, you know, tucked underneath my arm where I'd normally hold it. But that's how you load an M1 Garand. So, you know, already compared to a bolt action rifle where we're just kind of slapping in a mag on the underneath and working a bolt, this is already a little bit fiddly, quite loud as you can see there. You could try to ease it forward, but with most of these semi-automatics, you do want to run them kind of at regular speed, so you're not messing with it. So that's what you're going to do at the start of the day. You're going to run this thing. You're going to have your round in there. You're going to have it on safe, and you're going to walk around the woods. And then you get back home, and it's time to unload this bad boy, and that's just as much fun. Let's see. Yeah, okay, we still got it. You're going to unload that first round, keeping this back. We're going to put our hand over top, and we're going to press this this button on the side that's going to release the clip. And we're just going to pull it out. So that is also kind of a pain in the butt compared to, again, what you would do with just a really standard bolt action rifle. Let's see if I can find that other round. So the operating mechanism, it's cool. And you know, back in the day, this would have been a ton of firepower. And I think the clip system as a method of holding ammunition is sweet. Like you can, this is eight rounds in a tiny little package. It's very easy to carry these things. Not really a concern when you're hunting though. I mean, fantastic, you can carry 16, you know, however many rounds you want to, but you know, you only really need one shot when you're hunting. Maybe two if if you screw things up. Within Canada and within the area I hunt, you can only reload, and these are just some 308s I've got hanging. I didn't have any unloaded 30-06. I just had a couple of dummy rounds in these 308s, so that's why they're in there. Normally these would be the same size. But in Canada, we actually have to run 5 rounds. So there's two ways of doing this. You can just hand load them into the Garand, but you have to hold the op rod back the whole time, and you're kind of fiddling them through the top here, so it's not all that great. Or you can run them with these plastic blocks in them, so you're only running 5 rounds. You know, normally at the range you can run 8 rounds, no problem with the Garand, but if you're hunting, you can only, like, hunting regulations typically say only 5 rounds for semi-auto, and they don't make the distinction between any semi-autos and the Garand, so that's limiting as well. So you got to run these specialized clips, and you no longer have the ability to just throw it in whichever way you want to. So there's that as well. So I mean, I don't know if anyone's watching this video actually expecting that I would come out of this and say, like, yes, the M1 Garand is an awesome hunting rifle. Will it do the job? Yeah, absolutely. This is, and with this rifle in particular, I'm getting 2 to 3 MOA, and that's really good for a semi-auto. I know a lot of guys out there say, like, oh no, I can get mine to 1, and fantastic. Do that. Do your 1M away with your semi-autos. I can't get it, and I think I'm a pretty good shot. With this one, 2 to 3 is totally workable within 150, 200 yards. Would I use this one for hunting? Only if I was really, really enthusiastic about hunting with a historical military firearm like this one. It's not that heavy, but it's a little bit heavier than a typical bolt action rifle. I've got a what is that? A Ruger American in the safe right now, and it's 6 1/4 pounds or something like that. So it's smoking light. You can throw that thing on your shoulder and hump it around all day, and you barely even notice it. It's a little bit heavier. It's got a little bit more sharp edges on it, so when you've got it slung up, there are some more things kind of digging into your back compared to, you know, with a light, sleek bolt action rifle. The cartridge is fine for hunting, but that said, you know, if you really don't want to beat up your op rod, you have to reload for it. It isn't really easily scoped. You can get that side mount thingy that I was talking about, but the Peeps pretty much are a better bet, and they are accurate to use if you learn how to use them. So if you're intending on hunting with this thing, I would just stick with the Peeps. If your eyesight's starting to go on you, there are some that I think I've seen for these things where you can replace this rear sight here with a red dot, and that will be a much better deal than that side scope thing, just because you won't have the side-to-side problems as compared to just up and down. And the red dot will sit nice and low right within this sight pocket. I think it's M14.ca that's got one of those, but I'll have to check later and kind of annotate this video. So that's kind of the long and short of it. There are some really cool things about this rifle. It's got a very reliable action. So if you were to take this hunting and you wanted to make sure that your second shot was going to go, it's going to go. I'm getting good accuracy out of this one. It's fine for 150, 200 yards. It's not as good as a hunting bolt action rifle, but if you're really into your military arms and you want to get out and try something different, give her and try out with a M1 Garand.